In this module, we will try to discuss about Huffman coding based compression method. I am sure that you may be already knowing about data compression. Evidently, the compression techniques are used to save or conserve the disk space and also bandwidth charges while communicating the data. Popularly, there are two types of methods known as lossy coding techniques or compression techniques and lossless compression techniques. Usually, the lossy techniques are used to compress the data such as images, voice, video, etc. Whereas for the actual text files or any program files, etc., we require to use lossless compression techniques. There are many concepts employed in practice in these compression techniques. Most of them, they exploit the available redundancy in the data. In this module, we try to deal with a coding technique known as Huffman coding, which tries to exploit the available redundancy in the data, which we may be explaining in the coming slides. Example compression methods widely employed ones are, we are sure that you have seen some images called as JPEG images. Similarly, MP3 player. Similarly, compressed files like zip files, tar archives, cab files, Microsoft supported archive, etc. All of them, they employ some or other form of compression. However, in the following slides, we will be talking about only the Huffman encoding technique. The main theme behind Huffman encoding is as follows. That is, here we will design codes for symbols such a way that those symbols which occurs frequently, such that they contain small length codes, whereas for those symbols which occurs rarely or infrequently, the codes will be longer codes. Thus, the total number of bits required to send a message involving the symbols will be requiring less number of bits. This is the essence of this technique. However, while designing the codes, we design such a way that no code can be prefix of any longer valid code, such that deciphering becomes easy. Of course, you may be wondering what is a prefix. For example, 01 is a prefix of 010. Similarly, 0 is a prefix of 01. This is called as the prefix. Now, the codes, whatever we are going to design for a given set of alphabets basing on the probabilities or frequency of occurrences, the code should be such a way that the frequently occurring symbol will contain or will be having small length code compared to the infrequently occurring one. And at the same time, to have ease of decoding, the codes should have some property as explained earlier. That is, no code of a symbol should be prefix of any other code which is of longer size. For example, if we see that the symbols are represented in a binary tree fashion as shown in the slide, and we assume that if we traverse from each symbol towards root, and if we are traversing towards left, it will be considered as 0, otherwise 1, and thus the code, for example, for the code of the symbol D is considered as 00, as it is left to its parent is left to the root, thus the code is 00. Whereas the symbol for A, that is 010, how did you get? If you traverse from the root node, A is in the right, left hand side, thus 0, first 0, and then you have to come right side, thus 1, again you have to come left side, that is 0, thus the code of A is 010. The same thing, if you want to write from the least significant bit, if you start from A, you go left, then again right, and then left, so you will get 010 from the least significant bit. Like this the codes are designed. If we verify that the symbols, rather codes for the symbols A, B, C, D, no code is prefix of any other code. So this is a property we expect from the codes what we design for the set of symbols basing on their probabilities. Of course, already we have mentioned the main objective of the coding is to reduce the number of bits required to send the data or store the data. For example, if we assume that directly a message CDA, BC, DD, CCC, if we wanted to store as it is in ASCII string fashion, in ASCII, each string or each character takes one byte, thus totally we require 80 bits. However, if we employ this encoding, then we require 17 bits only. Thus, we get benefit of data bandwidth saving. The basic Huffman algorithm works as follows. First, it takes two characters which are having lowest probabilities, and they are assumed to be replaced with an imaginary character, say x, whose probability is sum total of the individual probabilities. And this x and the remaining symbols again sorted, and the least two of that list will be taken. They will be merged. This is repeated till all the symbols comes into one node. And these operations are represented in a binary tree fashion, where the lowest level, that is the forest of the symbols, and the root node, all the symbols as a single unit we consider. And once this tree is designed, we find out the codes of the individual symbols, that is the Huffman codes, by traversing from the root node to the symbol, or maybe from the symbol to the root node, both. If we wanted to write the code from the most significant bit to least significant bit, we can traverse from the root node to the symbol. And while you are traversing, if you are going left, you consider 0, right 1. So that becomes the code of the symbol. In general, while encoding the data string, traversing the tree each time may be inefficient. Thus, a direct addressed lookup table is created, as shown in the table or slide, and from that the message will be encoded. Of course, the receiver end, if it is meant for communication, coding is we are doing for the sake of communication, we can have this type of lookup tables other side, but however decoding becomes little difficult. Thus, in the receiver side, the incoming bit stream is taken and then tree is used and decoded. We will consider all the nodes are the leaf nodes. Rather, I say, according to our Huffman algorithm, Initially, all the nodes make the forest of the forest. We try to join the two smallest ones recursively, and the Huffman tree will be created. The symbols S and NL are added, forming a new internal node. We call it as a T1. Its frequency is 4. Now, the new internal node T1 and symbol T are added, getting new internal node T2 with the frequency 8. The internal node T2 and the next smallest symbol, the symbol with next smallest frequency, that is A, are added. Thus, new internal node T3 is created. Its frequency is 18. The symbols I and SP are added, forming another new internal node T4. Its frequency is 25. Now, the next smallest two, that is T3, that is the internal node T3, and the symbol E, they are joined, forming another new internal node with frequency 33. Now, the nodes, that is internal nodes T5 and T4 are added, and a new internal node T6 is created. That becomes the root node for this data. The Huffman codes of the symbols A, E, I, S, T, S, P, N, L can be derived from the graph. A becomes 0, 0, 1, E 0, 1, I 1, 0, S 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, T 0, 0, 1, SP 1, 1, NL 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. We can verify that the symbols E, I, etc., they are taking 2-bit length codes as their frequencies are higher. Of course, SP length also only 2 bits, whereas the symbols S, NL, etc., they are occurring very rarely. Thus, for them, the Huffman codes are of 5 bits length. Now, if we calculate total how many bits are required for this data involving 58 symbols, we may find that 146 bits are required. That is, for symbol A, 3 bits are required. A's are 10, so 10 into 3 plus 15 into 2 plus 12 into 2 plus 3 into 5 plus 4 into 4 plus 13 into 2 plus 1 into 5, totaling 146 bits to code these 58 symbols of our problem. The next slide, we will find out how many bits required if we employ uniform length coding. Let us assume that the uniform length coding employed for the symbols A, E, etc. are given in this table. As there are 7 symbols, at most we may require 3 bits to represent any symbol. Thus, the codes assigned for the symbols are 3-bit length codes. If we assume like this and code the data, then we require in total 174 bits. That is, total 58 symbols are there. For any symbol, we are planning to use 3-bit length codes only. Thus, 58 into 3, thus 174 bits are required to code this. When we compare this 174 with the previous, that is Huffman coded codes, then we may require less number of bits to communicate the symbols. However, we have not got in this example great benefit, as the frequencies of the symbols what we have selected, more or less they are of uniform probability. Thus we did not get any great benefit. We know that for the character set of C characters, standard fixed length coding requires log C bits. Thus, in the previous table, we understood that there are 7 symbols. So, if we assume that 3-bit coding for each symbol, we require 3 bits to represent any symbol's code. The same can be represented in a binary tree fashion also, where the characters are stored in the leaf nodes, which is called as binary trie. In the next slide, we'll show an example binary trie for the problem. This is the binary trie for the problem, where the symbols are the leaf nodes. For example, if we want to know the code of A, we traverse from A to root, or rather we traverse from the root to A. If we traverse from left towards left, we consider 0, otherwise 1. So from the root, if you traverse left, 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 thus the code of A becomes 0, 0, 0. Similarly, for E, it is 0, 0, 1. That is, we have to come left from the root, again left, then right. That's 0, 0, 1. Like this, the codes of the symbols can be got even if the symbol, or rather I say symbols, are represented in the binary trie fashion. Here, for any symbol, you get uniform length codes, as all the symbols are the lowest level. We require the Huffman tree which optimizes or minimizes the above sum. Let us consider another example. Here we have 5 symbols F, E, C, B, D. The frequencies are 5, 9, 12, 13 and 16. Already we have sorted them. Now we are supposed to add 2 smallest ones, that is F and E, they are added. The resulting node frequency is 14, that is again kept into the sorted order. Now we'll add next 2 smallest ones, that is C, B, their frequencies are 12 and 13, they are added. The resulting node frequency is 25, that is again moved into appropriate place into the sorted order. That is, nodes are sorted based on their frequencies. We consider that the addition nodes are internal nodes. While sorting, we consider the internal nodes and the nodes which are not yet considered into the tree, they are the leaf nodes. Now the lowest 2 are the internal node whose frequency is 14, which is created by adding 2 symbols, and D. Now we are going to add these 2 things. and then the resulting internal node will move into the correct place. Now the lowest two are the internal nodes 25 and 30. They are added now, and then the resultant internal node is moved into correct place. Now we combine the last two trees. The result is as shown in the figure. Now if we verify the slide, the resultant Huffman tree is shown right hand side of the slide. From this we can understand the codes for the symbols. For symbol A, 0, that is the symbol which occurs more frequently, thus we have got a code length of 1 bit length only. For C, the code length will be 0, 0, whereas for B, 1, 0, whereas for F, it will be 0, 0, 1, 1, whereas for E, it is 1, 0, 1, 1, whereas for D, that is 1, 1, 1. Already we understood. If we wanted to find out code for a symbol, we have to start from that node of that symbol and move upwards to the root node. Along the path, if you are moving towards left, you consider 0, otherwise 1. For example, for symbol B, which is right to its parent, thus its code is 1, 0, 1, 1. Its parent is left to its parent, so thus we consider 0. And that 55, there is a parent for root node as right, so that 1 will consider. So that is the code for this symbol. In general, the Huffman algorithm is implemented with the help of the priority queue. The priority queue is designed to maintain the set of trees nodes. Initially, all the tree symbols will be in the priority queue. That each leaf or letter is a tree by itself. And then we remove two smallest nodes and then add and create a new node, and that will be inserted into the priority queue. This is repeated to get the final Huffman tree. The algorithm works as follows. First, some node type of pointer variables low1, low2 and nu are declared. We assume that for this function Huffman, we will be sending the leftist tree P as argument. If P is null, we simply come out from the function. Otherwise, we continue to do the following. We remove two smallest nodes and create a new node and assign a new letter for that and assign the frequencies, sum of the frequencies as the frequency of this new node, and that node will be inserted into P. This is repeated till P becomes empty. this slide explains about the main program, which reads n number of symbols and their frequencies, which are supposed to be used in designing the Huffman tree. Both the symbols and also their frequencies are considered as random numbers, and then the Huffman function is called to create the Huffman tree. With the help of the print tree function, the same will be supposed to be printed. Let us consider that we have received the data 1000110. We are interested to find out what is this message is. Thus, we start from first bit, that is 1, that is we start from the root, and as the bit value is 1, we go right. The next bit is 0, so we come left. Thus, when we do so, which symbol is there in the tree? T is there. Thus, the symbol is T. Now again we will start from the root. Now the next bit is 0, which means that we come left. Next bit is 0, again we will come left. Thus we reach the symbol E. Thus we print E. Now again we start from the top, that is root. The next bit is 1, thus we go right. The next bit is 1, again we go right. And then next bit is 0, indicating that we reach the symbol N in the tree, which means that the symbol, respective symbol is N. Like this, if the received message is 1000110, that indicates the message is 10. Like this, decoding operation takes place in this Huffman encoded data. As the symbols or codes of the symbols what we have designed, as they are following those prefix rules, there will not be any confusion or ambiguity in decoding. The computational complexity of Huffman encoding is order of n log n, which involves especially sorting the keys and then repeating the following things, that is forming a new subtree, then moving the subtree, etc. Thus, we require overall n log n complexity for achieving the Huffman tree. Let us consider another example. The symbols, that is the characters, are shown in the slide. They are E, T, A, O, I, N, S, R, H, L, D, C, U. The frequencies are given. You may find that frequency of E is the highest. So for that we are supposed to get a code length of smallest. Whereas for other thing, U, the frequency is less. So for that we should get a code of largest. Let us see how the Huffman tree is formed, and it is used in coding the messages. Initially, all the nodes are assumed to be forests, as shown in the figure. Then the algorithm is applied as explained earlier. The symbols C and U are joined to form a new internal node. The frequency of the internal node will be 58. That is sum total frequency. Now, next to two smallest frequency symbols, that is D and L, they are joined, they are added, giving to a new internal node with frequency 81. Now, the next two smallest, that is 58 and 55, they are joined to form a new node, new internal node in the binary tree with the frequency 113. Now again, two smallest nodes, or rather I say nodes with smallest frequencies are added now, 61, 65. The resulting node frequency will be 126. Now the next two smallest, that is 71 and 73, are added, resulting a new node with a frequency 144. Now the next two smallest nodes, that is AO, whose frequencies are 80, 76, they are added, giving a resultant node with the frequency 156. Now a new node is formed by joining 81 and T, that is 93, giving an internal node with frequency 174. Now the node E and the internal node with 113, they are added, giving rising to another internal node with 238. The internal nodes with the frequencies 126 and 144 are added. The new node with the frequency 270 is formed. Now the internal nodes with the frequencies 156 and 174 are added, giving a new internal node with frequency 330. A new node is formed by adding two internal nodes whose frequencies are 270 and 238, giving the resultant node frequency as 508. Now another new node is formed by adding these two subtrees whose internal weights are 330 and 508. The resultant node 838. So this is the root node of our Huffman tree of this given data. Huffman codes of the symbols in this problem are shown in this table. For example, for the symbol E, the Huffman code you can find out by traveling from the E to the root node. And if you travel along the left subtree, you assume it is 0, otherwise 1. So now if you travel from E, so E is the left child for its parent, thus 0, and its parent is right to its parent, thus 1, and that parent is right to the root node, thus 1. So thus the code of the node E is 110. Like this, the codes are designed for this data. If we verify that the length of the code for E, that is the symbol which is more frequently occurring compared to other symbols such as U, is 3 bits length, whereas U has 5 bits. Thus, we have got the actual Huffman algorithm functioning. Like this, the Huffman algorithm designs the codes for those symbols which occurs more frequently, such that they contain smaller length codes, whereas for those symbols which occurs rarely or infrequently, the code length will be larger. In this example, we can also verify that average code length is 3.62. This is relatively small compared to uniform length coding. This is because if you verify the distribution of the frequencies, distribution of the characters, we may find there not much of variation. That is the reason why we are not getting better compression ratios here. If the ratio of the highest frequency to lowest frequency is very high, then we may get very less number of bits, average number of bits per character or symbol. Let us consider another example for the Huffman coding. The following slides will explain how the process takes place and also the final tree for the data. The resulting tree is shown in the slide. When the tree is used to encode a file, then the file will be made such a way that its header contains the details about the symbols and their codes. Probably the header should look like this. For example, the symbol Y, the Huffman code is 0000. So that followed by the symbol Y. Similarly, 0001 followed by the symbol E, etc. The header will be created, and then actually the encoded message will be saved. If the probability of symbols are same, equal, then the tree may look like complete binary tree. Real benefit or real compression becomes possible only if the probabilities of the symbols are not same. That is, they are not equal probabilities. There is a variation, large variation in the probabilities of the symbols. Then only we will be getting the benefit of Huffman coding. If we verify the tree in this slide, the symbol which is having highest probability will be near to the root, thus its code length will be less, whereas the one which is in the leaf nodes, the downmost level, the lowest level, it is the one having least probabilities, thus its code length will be more. Thus there is the symbols, they have a lot of variation in their probabilities, then the tree may look like this and we get the benefit of compression. Rather, there will be use of Huffman coding. Otherwise, there will not be any use. If equal probability, then all the codes, all the symbols will be having the same uniform code length we will be getting. Thus, there will not be any benefit at all. Let's consider another example. Data is given in the slide. The tree formation is also shown in the slides. Let us consider another example. In this example, we have 7 symbols A1 to A7. The probabilities are given. As usual, we have to apply the Huffman tree. Here we have displayed the tree formation in a tabular manner. For example, the probability is 0.1 and 0.08 are added. The resulting probability 0.18. Then that one and the remaining all the probabilities, they are sorted. And then again the smallest two, that is 0.12 and 0.1, they are added. The resultant probability 0.22 and the remaining probabilities at this level, they are kept in the sorted order. Out of them, two smallest ones, that is 0.18 and 0.15, they are added. The resulting is 0.33. Again sorted. This is repeated and the respective tree formation is shown. From the tree, we can find out the codes, that is Huffman codes of the symbols A1 as 01, A2 as 11, etc. Design the Huffman codes for the following data. decoding in Huffman coding is very simple. We start from the first bit in the received bit stream and start from the root node of the Huffman tree. If the received bit is 1, we traverse right of the node or right of the tree. Otherwise, we go to left. This we proceed till we reach a symbol, that is a leaf node. Then the respective symbol is printed as the output. This is repeated till the message is over. Once we reach the leaf node, the next bit in the input stream corresponds to the first bit of the next character in the message. Thus, we have to again start from the root node. This is how we decode the received message in the Huffman coding. The following codes are given for the symbols with the given probabilities. Are they both prefix codes? Yes. Yes. If we verify the codes of the symbols in both the codes, no code is prefix of other codes. Thus, the prefix property is satisfying. The average number of bits required for the symbol in both the codes are calculated in the slide. One requires 3 bits per symbol, whereas the other one requires 2.2 bits. What will be the nature of the tree, that is Huffman tree, if all the probabilities are equal? That is, all the symbols are having equal probability. The answer is, the tree will be balanced tree. Which data structure is used in implementing Huffman tree? Priority queues are the ones which are employed in realizing the Huffman trees. Is there any ambiguity in using Huffman code? That is, Huffman coded message, can it be deciphered easily? If so, why? Yes, there will not be any ambiguity in decoding the Huffman coded message. In the previous sessions or slides, we understood that the codes which we have generated for each symbol, they are designed such a way that the code of a symbol is not going to be prefix of any other longer code. Thus, deciphering becomes unique.